Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com.
She's the Boston Herald's wittiest wordsmith, the last woman standing at the Whiskey Priest. Once a very legitimate magazine that we definitely didn't make up named her the Michael Jordan of radio. Wait, don't you think we're laying it on a little thick here, Grace?
Just stick to the script.
Oh, okay. Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Hello, New England. Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show. It is Thursday, and we are here to bring you everything you need to know about what's going on in politics, pop culture, and so much more. And we have a lot of stories to get to. I'm not going to leave anything out. I'm going to talk about Ted Cruz being in Cancun during this, terrible time for Texas. I'm going to talk about the Massachusetts vaccination scheduling website. I just got off the phone with Howie. The website crashed this morning, and you know it's bad when the comment section in the Globe is lighting up about how angry people are. That's a sign that Charlie Baker is doing something very wrong. If he's lost the Globe, he's lost the left totally. But what I really want to start with today is King Cuomo, because there's there's pros and cons to having a show in the middle of the day. I get to talk about some stuff before Howie, but I also miss some stuff once I leave. And one thing I missed was the story about Ron Kim. So let's break this down. Andrew Cuomo is going through the 5 stages of grief right now for his political career. The first stage is obviously denial. That would be moments when he said, people died once I leave. There's not, all those cuts. Let's actually play some of these. Cut 18. This is the first stage denial for Andrew Cuomo.
Look, whether a person died in a hospital or died in a nursing home, it's the people died. People died.
A lot of people were accurately comparing that to Hillary Clinton. At this point, what difference does it make? Her Benghazi moment. That was Cuomo's Benghazi moment. And he really doubled and tripled down. He kept saying that he wasn't taking any responsibility. He wasn't going to apologize. The most he apologized for was for creating a void of information. This is also a flashback. Cut 17.
Apologize. Look, I have said repeatedly, we made a mistake in creating the void. We made a mistake in creating the void. When we didn't provide information, it allowed press, people, cynics, politicians to fill the void. When you don't correct disinformation, you allow it to continue. And we created the void not because people weren't working hard, Mike, because you know how hard people were working.
We can stop it there. That's a mixture of him being a bully and also him playing the blame game. It's not his fault. It's disinformation's fault. It's a straw man. The media is mean to him. Boo-hoo. But definitely part of the denial phase. He has moved on to the next stage of grief, which is anger. I'm actually going to say he's at stage 2 and 3 at the same time. He's a mixture right now of the anger stage and the bargaining stage. That is very unfortunate for Ron Kim, who is a New York assemblyman who got a call from Andrew Cuomo. Now, here's the thing to know about Ron Kim. He's first of all, an incredible guy. His uncle passed away in one of the nursing homes, and despite being a Democrat, he did not toe the party line. He's been very outspoken against Andrew Cuomo since April. The guy has really put his money where his mouth is. He has not backed down. He's a friend of Janice Dean's, I believe. And a lot of these people have just been holding Cuomo's feet to the fire. Yesterday, it breaks that Ron Kim got a call from Andrew Cuomo. And Andrew Cuomo thinks he's a tough guy. There's no doubt about it. I mean, remember, and Taylor, I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember when he compared himself and Dr. Fauci to De Niro and Pacino?
Couple of wise guys, yeah.
Couple of wise guys. And he said, do we have that cut? He said, oh, okay, cut 19. This is him talking about him and Fauci.
Maybe we enlist you. I'll do it with you. We'll do an ad telling New Yorkers it's safe to take the vaccine. To put us together. We're like the modern day De Niro and Pacino. You can be whichever you want. You can be the De Niro or Pacino. Fauci and Cuomo, I'll give you a friend. Who do you want to be, De Niro or Pacino? Which one do you want to be?
I love them both. I love them both. I don't want to insult one or the other. If I say one, I don't want to hurt the feelings of the other.
Yeah.
Wow, I have to say, I've never listened to that cut in full. Two of my least favorite people in the world.
I think I heard Fauci in there saying he wanted to be Pacino, kind of under his breath. So I guess Cuomo would be De Niro.
I would want to be Pacino if I had to choose. I would definitely choose Pacino over De Niro. I've heard De Niro say so much stupid stuff about Trump that I've lost my respect for him. But that's a conversation for another segment, Taylor, because the real thing is that he really does think he's a wise guy. He thinks he's tough. And so he calls Ron Kim, and Ron Kim said that he threatened to destroy him. Taylor, you accurately pointed out in yesterday's show that maybe he's getting his PR tips from TJ Ducklow. This destroying people seems to be a trend. It's like they all think they're characters in House of Cards, and they're taking it to real life. But I have on my sheet here, according to Taylor, we actually have some leaked audio of the phone call that Andrew Cuomo made to Ron Kim. Let's play some of that.
And you don't answer my call? How dare you? You're about to be fired. You're history. How dare you? With all the good things you do, this is bullshit. After Christmas, this. How dare you disrespect me? Don't get angry with me because I'm pissed off because I didn't get a simple thing that I need. You gotta be kidding me, you spoiled brat. You. God, how could you say you don't answer? You're upset. You spoiled brat.
Hold on a second, Taylor. I gotta retract that. Or as CNN would say, I have to update that statement. That was not Andrew Cuomo. I believe that was De Niro.
That was who would play Andrew Cuomo in a movie.
We
yes.
mixed up the tapes.
Sorry.
It. Sorry, Cuomo. There actually is no audio of the phone call. But according to Ron Kim's wife, she could overhear Andrew Cuomo screaming at him over the phone. And he kept saying the words like, my wrath. And he kept saying, I'm going to destroy you. And I think at one point he said, who do you think you are? And I just have to say,
you know who I am?
I just have to say about Andrew Cuomo, he's unraveling. He's unraveling, and it's a beautiful thing. And I might have to spill this over into the next segment because my favorite part is when someone like Andrew Cuomo is a bully, and he clearly is. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It lasts for a really long time. People are really afraid of him. And then once a few people break out, then it kind of starts to crumble. And you saw, this happens all the time. You saw it with Harvey Weinstein. I'm not comparing the two, but you also saw it with John Weaver. All you need is a few people to say, hey, you're kind of a jerk. And then all of a sudden, a lot of people come out and say that. And so now people are, accepting the fact that Cuomo's political career is dead. And you got people like Bill de Blasio who are coming out and dunking on him. Like, oh, yeah, I could totally buy that he would say that. That sounds like something he would say. Everyone is just turning their backs on Andrew Cuomo. Guys, we're going to open up the phone line, see what you guys think, but we have more sound and we have more to this story. 844-500-4242. Don't go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
Take advantage of an irresistible new offer from HelloFresh and hit refresh on your dinner routine. With HelloFresh, you can get delicious recipes and fresh, pre-portioned ingredients sourced directly from growers and delivered to your door. With more than 25 weekly recipes, there's something for everyone to enjoy, including family-friendly, vegetarian, and low-calorie options. You can say goodbye to never-ending meal planning and prepping and hello to new 10 to 20-minute meals, low-prep recipes, and quick breakfasts and lunches. HelloFresh recipe cards are easy to follow with simple steps and pictures to help you get meals on the table in less than a half an hour. Plus, you can skip the store and save up to 40% on groceries. HelloFresh isn't just delicious, it's also a good deal. Go to HelloFresh.com and use code Howie10 for 10 free meals, including free shipping for a limited time only. That's code Howie10 at HelloFresh.com for 10 free meals, including free shipping. HelloFresh.com.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price.
We shall pay any price,
Bear any burden.
bear any burden,
Accept any challenge and meet any hardship
meet any hardship,
to secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children.
to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children.
Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children,
The quality of our education,
the quality of their education,
the joy of their play,
or the joy of their play.
Come on, man.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey everybody, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
There's a group of about 10 people outside of work that represent the entire universe of the community that I've spent time with and my wife has spent time with since March.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power. And the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
We spent time with about 10 people, period. We have a lot of friends we have not seen for months, and we don't know when we will see them. There are lots of people we haven't seen in like forever.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world, but it's the only world they know.
Those are the rules in this game that we all need to play by.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
My wife and my circle of friends has gotten very small.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio.
Governor Cuomo called me the next day at 8 p.m. While I was about to bathe my kids, I was with my wife, and for 10 minutes, he berated me, he yelled at me, he told me that, my career will be over. He's been biting his tongue for months against me, and I had tonight, not tomorrow, tonight, to issue a new statement, essentially asking me to lie. And asking me, I heard and I saw a crime the other day. And he's asking me that I did not see that crime.
Wow. I hope this doesn't destroy anyone's faith in the integrity of Governor Andrew Cuomo. Listen to some of these quotes. According to Ron Kim, he called him and said, at some point said something like, we're in this business together and we don't cross certain lines. And he said I hadn't seen his wrath and that he can destroy me.
But he wants all the mafia references gone.
Well,
he doesn't want to be compared to the mob anymore.
Those are ethnic slurs, Taylor.
We're in the same business together. Never go against the family.
And he wonders why people call Chris Cuomo Fredo. I mean, it's really amazing. And I love seeing the rest of these hacks jump on board because they know his ship is sinking. So they're like, all right, we all might as well get into it. Let's listen to Bill de Blasio on Morning Joe, cut 16.
Kim says that he got this irate phone call that started out, are you an honorable man? And it went for 10 minutes of him yelling and then threats to publicly tarnish him. Have you ever heard of anything like that from Governor Cuomo? Have you ever spoken with him and anything like that happened?
Yeah, it's a sad thing to say, Mika, but that's classic Andrew Cuomo. A lot of people in New York State have received those phone calls. The bullying is nothing new. I believe Ron Kim, and it's very, very sad. No public servant, no person who's telling the truth should be treated that way. But yeah, the threats, the belittling, the demand that someone change their statement right that moment, many, many times. I've heard that, and I know a lot of other people in this state have heard that.
So you believe Assemblyman Kim that he was threatened?
100%.
Now, here's my only problem with Bill de Blasio. Actually, not my only problem. I have several problems with Bill de Blasio. But it drives me crazy that he's on board to do this now. But, where was he 6 months ago? Why does someone like Ron Kim, who's a New York Assemblyman, have to stand up and be the only person to come forward with a story like this if Bill de Blasio knows that this is classic Andrew Cuomo? Well, why wouldn't he have said anything months ago? Everyone's just so weak. And I give so much credit to Ron Kim. Listen to this. He said, no man has ever spoken to me like that in my entire life. At some point, he tried to humiliate me, asking, are you a lawyer? I don't think so. You're not a lawyer. It almost felt like in retrospect, he was trying to bait me and anger me and say something inappropriate. I'm glad I didn't. Kim's wife told CNN that she had overheard parts of Kim's phone call with Cuomo last week and described the governor as loud and angry. She said she heard Cuomo say, who do you think you are? As well as the words, my wrath.
You know who I am?
And that immediately after the phone call, her husband told her, the governor threatened to destroy my life.
But don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again.
Don't ever take sides with anyone against the Cuomos. Okay? Let's get after it. This is Cuomo primetime. Kim said he received multiple calls from a no-caller ID number, followed by messages from Cuomo aides saying that the governor would like to speak with him again. When the phone don't ring, Gov, it's Ron Kim calling you. And the craziest part now is I guess Cuomo's trying to say, oh no, I had aides in the room with me. That never happened. Who are you going to believe? What is Cuomo's word at this point? I would take, honestly, Joe's word as a Biden before I would take Andrew's word as a Cuomo. The guy has absolutely zero credibility. He's finally under investigation for all of the deaths in New York nursing homes. And it just seems like he's spiraling now. He's trying desperately to regain some of this power. And a lot of Democrats in New York are finally speaking up and saying, we have to rescind some of these emergency powers that he has. Because he does not look like he's trying to relinquish power at any time. what's the expression? Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. This guy is drunk on power. So like I said, it's a stage of grief. He's at anger right now. I think the other stages are acceptance and, first depression, then acceptance. But from what I've heard about Cuomo, he doesn't run that deep. Like, I don't think he's ever going to have any sort of self-reflection. And so I think it might end here at anger. I don't think he'll ever get there. But there are other news stories I want to talk about today, not just Andrew Cuomo. I want to talk a little bit about what happened with Senator Ted Cruz. A photo went viral last night or early this morning of him getting ready to board a plane with his family to Cancun. And it's a terrible look, optics-wise. And if it were a Democrat, I would sit here and I would have a field day. So I have to say something when it's Ted Cruz. I can't figure out what's wrong with these politicians. They're all so some of them are smart. Like Ted Cruz, there's no doubt academically he's a very smart guy, but they're also dumb. Like it didn't cross your mind at any point that right now to leave Texas where you're a senator when so many people don't have power and are freezing, that you going to Cancun is a bad look? I'm not a political expert, but I could have told you that. The level of just common sense that they lack is kind of astounding. And he's going to be rightfully dunked on all day. They're actually calling, Texas Democrats are calling for him to resign, which I think is a bit much. But I do think he should have to answer the question, like, how come that's okay? This double standard. And if it were just because of COVID, I would say, listen, he's not telling people that they can't do anything they want to do. But it's just you represent Texas, and Texas right now is struggling. Don't you want to be there for this one time?
He probably had the vacation booked for quite some time. In his defense, there's no way you could have foreseen this weather forecast that they're having right now and this power outage. But yeah,
you pull out of it.
You cancel the trip.
Yeah, or you send your wife with your kids. You don't have to go. I can't imagine that even if he thought that no one was going to find out, which first of all, that's ridiculous. He can barely go to CVS without someone snapping a photo of him. These politicians at this point are celebrities. People know who they are. They know their faces. So in a crazy world where he thinks he's going to get away with it, wouldn't the anxiety of thinking that someone's going to catch you on this trip ruin the trip for you?
I bet he's going to be snarky about it when he finally releases a statement. It's going to say something like, well, at least I'm not getting a Botox treatment at a fancy hotel when I'm there, like Nancy Pelosi did in Hawaii.
Yeah, but you know what I think is very telling about this is that Ted Cruz, and I've criticized him for this before, he's extremely snappy on Twitter. He's always trying to, get in good with AOC or dunk on so-and-so or have a witty comeback. He thinks he's great on Twitter, which is fine, whatever. I find that to be a lot coming from politicians. I always feel like take a break from Twitter. Leave Twitter up to the peanut gallery, like Grace Curley, who's still waiting on a blue check mark, or Taylor at Old Man Cormier. We have time on our hands to worry about Twitter. You guys worry about the country. But for someone who's extremely quick on Twitter and always responds to things and always is trying to, capitalize on situations, as of when I checked like an hour ago, they had not commented on it. So they didn't, I think he's trying to fly back and they're trying to trying to figure this out. But it does seem like by not commenting, they know this is a PR disaster. I just thought I'd add that in because I'd feel kind of like a hypocrite if I didn't. Anyway, though, I want to open up the phone lines, 844-500-4242. Howie Carr called me today and he said, Grace, if you talk about anything today, you got to talk about this vaccine rollout. The Massachusetts vaccination scheduling website crashes as appointments open up for 65 plus. Charlie Baker, you'll remember, he was part of that crowd that when Trump originally came out and falsely said he could do whatever he wanted, basically. Like, I have all the power. I'll decide what happens with COVID. A lot of people like Charlie Baker and Governor Cuomo came out and they said, no. We make the decisions for our states. Federalism. We decide for our states. And they were right. You do decide for your states. Look where it got Charlie Baker. He has handled this. It has been a disaster on every level, on absolutely every level. And now he's saying that because of the weather, the vaccine rollouts are going to be delayed. Originally, remember that idea he had where if you bring an old person in to get a vaccine, you can get a vaccine? And then people were basically out there trying to kidnap old people to bring them in. They were calling it.
My mother-in-law told my father-in-law, you need to go find an old person.
I thought you were going to say, told him, be careful out there.
No.
No, but it's true. They were calling it the gray market. There was a picture, I think it was in like the Wall Street Journal maybe, and it was this old woman with like really almost, it was like a caricature. She had gray hair, and she was standing in the middle of the street, and it just said the gray market, because they're scared that people are going to say, and Taylor, I told this to Howie today. A guy called up last week, and I didn't know about this rule that Charlie Baker had. I didn't understand that if you brought an old person, I'd never heard of it before, which was on me. And a guy calls up and he goes, yeah, I'm thinking about hooking up with a 75-year-old and so I can get and I didn't know what he was talking about. I said, romantically? I was so confused. And he said, no, it's the vaccine situation. And then I was like, I hadn't heard of that. It was a bad idea, but it was one of a million bad ideas. It was a bad idea to say.
I think that came from people were showing up and trying to cut the line with these old people. And I'm sorry, elderly population, more age experienced. And finally, Baker said, well, if you're bringing somebody to get vaccinated, then you can be eligible for a vaccine as well.
And that's when the danger started. That's when all of a sudden,
weird Craigslist ads out there.
Everybody started trying to help the little old lady get across the road. And they started putting her right into their car, saying, let's go, Granny. I already got the vaccine. You're getting it again. I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny. But all I'm saying is, for these people who had so much time, and that's the part of it that cracks me up, is that for so long it was, well, there's never going to be a vaccine. There's never going to be a vaccine. There's never going to be a vaccine. And then Trump, with Operation Warp Speed, there's a vaccine. And now what they're all saying is, well, he gave us the vaccine. They gave us the vaccine, but they didn't tell the states how to distribute it. I thought the states wanted that. I thought that they didn't want to be told what to do by Donald Trump. And now they're all sad that he didn't sketch it out for them. They had long enough to figure it out. It wasn't like they were worried about businesses. They shut down everything. What were they doing this whole time?
Well, and now the Biden administration is saying that they're leaving it up to the states to get teachers vaccinated to open up the schools. So they're reverting right back to what they were criticizing the Trump administration for doing, letting the states decide, because the states know best how to handle their populations.
And I knew when this originally happened and Trump kind of said, a lot of people came out and said, Trump can't tell states what to do. Like I don't think he even really got that at first. And I remember I wrote a column where I said, this is Trump. This is to your advantage. Make the states decide. And then slowly we'll start to see what states are competent and what states have leadership that are morons. And guess what? Ding, ding, ding. Florida has a very good governor. Massachusetts does not. It's not rocket science. We will get to your calls. We'll get to your calls in 1 second here. I have great news for my listeners. The Gen 40 heater is back and just in time for the really cold temps. The groundhog declared 6 more weeks of winter, and the globe is not warming anytime soon, especially in the New England area. You need to start planning, and that means you need the Gen 40 heater. A lot of people love the Gen 40. Taylor uses it all the time. Taylor, tell people about the Gen 40.
It's a very sleek piece of machinery. It's a wonderful product. I put it in my son's room at night, and it stays a nice, balmy 70 degrees in his room all night long. It shuts off when it reaches room temperature there, and then it turns on when it starts to dip again. There's no maintenance involved. It's easy to use. It's portable. Bring it from room to room. You don't have to set up the fireplace or anything or crank your thermostat. It's just a very, very convenient luxury to have, and it can be yours at a very low price.
And I like how Taylor emphasizes the fact that you can be lazy with the Gen 40. You don't have to take care of it.
Not lazy. Well, yeah, thrifty
I'm
too.
lazy. I'm cheap and I'm lazy. And I like to turn something on and not have to worry about it. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word HowieDeal to get $50 off the sale price. That's EdenPure.com and use code word HowieDeal for an extra $50 off. These heaters are in high demand, so go right now to EdenPure.com. Guys, 844-500-4242. What do you think of this vaccine rollout, or Ted Cruz or Andrew Cuomo? I'm opening it up to anything right now, and we'll be back on the other side. This is The Grace Curley Show.
You can call her late for dinner. Just don't call her Gracie. It's The Grace Curley Show.
This hour of The Grace Curley Show is brought to you in part by the Follansbee Inn in North Sutton, New Hampshire. Do what I did and enjoy this beautiful inn. To reserve your room, go to follansbeeinn.com.
He might not be flashy, but he's there when it counts. Here's 1 minute of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
For the first time in my memory, I agree with Nancy Pelosi. I am indeed the Grim Reaper when it comes to the socialist agenda that they've been ginning up over in the House.
You've watched the fight, you've watched the tactics, but here's what I want to tell you. In the very near future, Judge Kavanaugh will be on the United States Supreme Court. Noted with great interest the Green New Deal, and we're going to be voting on that in the Senate. We'll give everybody an opportunity to go on record and see how they feel about the Green New Deal. Well, first on the impartiality issue, do you think Chuck Schumer is impartial? Do you think Elizabeth Warren is impartial? No. Bernie Sanders is impartial? So let's quit the charade. This is a political exercise. Nobody is supposed to be guilty until proven innocent in the United States of America. Look, we're at an impasse. We can't do anything until the Speaker sends the papers over, so everybody enjoy the holidays.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
Everyone knows I love coffee and I'm not giving it up. I know that it would keep me up from time to time, but no longer with Balance 7. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. When it does this, you'll feel better, and I sleep better. Often I'm asked to try products and I can be very skeptical on their claims. But with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I didn't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wore on, because by sleeping better at night, it also gave me mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body. Balance 7 is also known for reducing acid reflux and heartburn as it did for the mailroom manager. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or sleep issues, you should give Balance 7 a try. Order the 8-ounce 12-pack supply at balance7.com. Put in code word Howie. You will save $10 and you'll also get free shipping. Balance7.com.
Grace Curley. She's working for you.
I'm like Bette Midler in For the Boys. Got to keep the troops entertained.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Grace Curley Show. If you've always wanted to have dinner with me, go to the 110 Grill in Plymouth, Mass. I'm so excited about this contest. Enter to win. You will also get a free copy of Howie's book, Plug Uglies. The night of the dinner will be Friday, February 26th. That's coming up very soon, so don't waste any time. And the winner will be announced on the 24th. So hurry in soon. That's 110 Grill in Plymouth. Taylor, what is the poll question and what are the results thus far?
Who's having a worse PR day? Andrew Cuomo, Ted Cruz, or Charlie Baker?
Ooh, I'm going to say Andrew Cuomo because it just feels like the house of cards is collapsing.
62% say Andrew Cuomo, 21% say Ted Cruz, 17% for Charlie Baker.
Very good, very good. Billy Mack, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Go ahead, Billy Mack.
Hey, Grace. Thanks for picking the call up. You had said something so poignant during the last segment that it just struck me. I had to call in. You said that politicians are celebrities.
Yeah.
And that just hit me. I mean, you're genius. That's the problem. And they shouldn't be, right? They're supposed to be public servants. It's just a great statement. I mean, I'm going to use it for the rest of my life. It just
Well, thank you, Billy Mack. I mean, I think that is a huge problem, and it's something our founding fathers never would have wanted, because what actually used to happen was people made careers, and then they went into public service, and then they went back to their careers. Like, they didn't make a career of their public service. And that's why I found Trump to be so refreshing. But it was ironic because people hated Trump because he was a billionaire before he entered a public office, which seems to me like the way you'd want it to work. But for some people, I guess not. Thank you for the call, Billy Mack. I appreciate it. I feel so flattered. I feel like a genius over here. No, but thank you very much. Steven, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Go ahead, Steven.
Yeah, I disagree with your opinion on Ted Cruz. I don't see why he has to emphasize with all the other people that in Texas, if he has the means to get out of there. I don't see where him being there or not being there is going to make things work faster in Texas. They're still going to freeze if he's there or if he's not there. Why should he deprive himself and his family of going into a better environment?
I just simply think it's bad optics. Sometimes in life, like, I don't think reasoning or logic necessarily, you could say, oh, what can he anything he can do there, he can do in Cancun. Fine. I don't know what his capabilities are with his laptop or with his, whatever. But optics wise, it looks terrible. And sometimes, and right now in politics, that matters. If you're going to try to criticize other people all the time on their bad optics, which, trust me, Steven, I follow Ted Cruz on Twitter. He does plenty of that. Then when it swings around, this is a terrible look for Ted Cruz. I don't think there's any denying that. I think if you were to say that this looks good for him or that it's fair that he do this, it's crazy. I'm not saying the guy murdered anybody. Like, a lot of people on Twitter, acting like he ran over a dog or something. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying politically, it just looks dumb. It's an unforced error, and I hate unforced errors, especially from Republicans. We'll be back on the other side with Matt Boyle from Breitbart and more of your calls. Thanks for the call, Stephen, though. I appreciate it. 844-500-4242. This is The Grace Curley Show.
I recently had a dental emergency, and where did I go? Perfect Smiles. I've said this before, but this reminded me again of what a perfectionist Dr. Houghton is. He is a veneer engineer, a world-class dental artist. Being on TV, it's important that I look my best. Dr. Houghton did that for me, and he can do it for you too. Right now, when a lot of people don't want to go into the city, Perfect Smiles is conveniently located in Nashua, New Hampshire, and parking is free. I was impressed to see all the state-of-the-art safety protocols that Perfect Smiles has taken since the virus. You'll feel safe and confident when you visit Perfect Smiles. Call 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, or go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Perfect Smiles banner. You can also see my video at PerfectSmiles.com. Perfect Smiles. Change your smile. Change your life.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey, everybody. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
There's a group of about 10 people outside of work that represent the entire universe of the community that I've spent time with and my wife has spent time with since March.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power, and the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
We spent time with about 10 people, period. We have a lot of friends we have not seen for months, and we don't know when we will see them. There are lots of people we haven't seen in like forever.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world, but it's the only world they know.
Those are the rules in this game that we all need to play by.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
My wife and my circle of friends has gotten very small.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price.
We shall pay any price.
Bear any burden.
Bear any burden.
Accept any challenge and meet any hardship.
Meet any hardship.
To secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children.
To assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children.
Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children.
The quality of our education.
The quality of their education.
The joy of their play.
For the joy of their play.
Come on, man.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey, everybody. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
There's a group of about 10 people outside of work that represent the entire universe of the community that I've spent time with and my wife has spent time with since March.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power, and the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
We spent time with about 10 people, period. We have a lot of friends we have not seen for months, and we don't know when we will see them. There are lots of people we haven't seen in like forever.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world, but it's the only world they know.
Those are the rules in this game that we all need to play by.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
My wife and my circle of friends has gotten very small.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president of the next senator.
I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate.
Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean.
Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday.
I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I?
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon.
We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's crisp.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920 and not 2020.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.
She's the Boston Herald's wittiest wordsmith, the last woman standing at the Whiskey Priest. Once a very legitimate magazine that we definitely didn't make up named her the Michael Jordan of radio. Wait, don't you think we're laying it on a little thick here, Grace?
Just stick to the script.
Oh, okay. Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show. We have a lot to get to today. A lot of crazy stories breaking. I have a story about Kendall Jenner. This might be my first time talking about the Kardashians on my new show. A lot of people thought it was going to be wall-to-wall Kardashian when I first started, but it's not. This is my first story, but I might say that for a little bit later. It involves her new tequila brand, Kendall Jenner, in cultural appropriation. We will get into all that. But on a serious note, sadly, as mostly everyone knows now, Rush Limbaugh passed away yesterday. It was a tough day for conservatives everywhere. He had a huge fan base. We knew the left was going to be gross about their response. They never, I think it was Sean Davis who once wrote, he was talking about the GOP, but he said they never fail to fail. And the left never fails to just go lower and lower. Michelle Obama once said, when they go low, we go high. That was probably the biggest whopper of the Obama presidency, because it's just totally not true.
Very fake news.
I'm not going to read you too much of the trolling from the slime balls on Twitter and even people like Terry Moran and, the obits in the Huffington Post. And the reason I'm not going to spend too much time on that is because I think it says a lot more about those people than it does about Rush. Plus, I think sometimes we give them exactly what they want. They want outrage, they want a response, and they're haters. And that's what they do. So if you give too much focus to the losers, they're going to keep being losers. And I don't want to do that. I don't really expect anything different from Joy Reid or Brian Stelter. I didn't expect them for once to show some class. That's just not what they're about. But I think what really should be noted is that a lot of people had awesome tributes and said some really great things. And I did want to go through a few of these. First of all, Ben Domenech from The Federalist had an awesome piece. And it was funny because when I was looking at his Twitter, his bio was, you can tell a man's vices by his friends, his virtues by his enemies. And I found that funny because I was about to look for his piece on Rush Limbaugh, and I thought, that does tell you a lot about Rush, that the same networks and people who, praised Andrew Cuomo and worshipped Michael Avenatti and covered for John Weaver, that these people weren't part of his fan base, that he didn't do it for those people. That's got to make him feel pretty good. I think Rush is looking down on all of us and he's going, it's okay. It's okay, Brian Stelter, that you weren't my biggest fan, or Terry Moran. I don't think that bothers him too much. But I did want to read here a little bit of Ben's piece. This is some of the last lines. He said, Limbaugh understood that what drew people to conservatism has less to do with words and musty old books and more to do with the intrinsic beliefs that reside in the hearts of all patriotic Americans. He understood that because he believed it himself. And how good was Rush? You knew when you sat in the driveway at home, the ignition turned off, but the radio dial still on, stuck between two stations because you wanted to hear the rest of the truth. He was that good. And Tammy Bruce also put up a really incredible thread about how she met Rush Limbaugh in the 90s, and she was a liberal activist, and how she started to talk to him, and she said he was just, everyone in her circles was telling her that he was awful, he was a monster, and she met him, and she said he was just so gregarious and nice and generous, and so she starts talking to him, and the thread is really interesting because she kind of walks you through a lot of her career and how he really did have a huge part in making her conservative. And I liked how she ended it. She said, Rush may be gone, but now it's up to all of us to continue his commitment to our great nation. Thank you, sir, for the time you took with an arrogant and smug LA leftist feminist, one of the millions of lives you changed for the better. So I just wanted to tell you guys that if you're on Twitter or if you're, watching some of these people, just turn it off. Give it a rest. They're never going to be classy. You remember Trump's reaction when RBG died? And that song was playing in the background, Tiny Dancer? He was a complete class act. He said whether you liked her or whether you agreed with her or you disagreed with her, she led an amazing life. That's all you have to say in these situations. But they can't. Because
she just died? Wow. I didn't know that. You're telling me now for the first time. She led an amazing life. What else can you say? She was an amazing woman. Whether you agreed or not, she was an amazing woman who led an amazing life. I'm actually sad to hear that. I am sad to hear that. Thank you very much.
That's how you respond when someone passes away who you disagree with politically. If you start tweeting right when someone dies the word bigot or racist, you might be Trump deranged. And the truth is that what Trump always said about himself applied to Rush as well. It's not that they hate Rush or that they hate Trump. They do. But they hate us. And they hate the fact that these guys make people like us feel heard and feel seen and feel less forgotten about. And that bothers them. Not to mention the fact that all of these people that hate Trump and hate Rush and hate you, they're truly insufferable. And they're not good people. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. I didn't get to play this yesterday. It is incredibly obnoxious. Chuck Todd was talking about the situation in Texas. A lot of people without power. It's incredibly cold there. Listen to what he said to his on-the-ground reporter. This is cut 13.
The only upside here is I assume the cold weather motivates people to wear a mask because it's one extra layer on your face.
How smug. He's sitting there in his warm studio talking about how, the upside is these people are out of their minds. And Bette Midler, she tweeted out, and I'm going to paraphrase here because it's somewhere in my stack of stuff, that this was like God's punishment. They always end up going back to that it's, God's punishment for the...
She had her Jane Fonda moment.
Exactly, Taylor. She had her Jane Fonda moment. And she totally doubled and tripled down. And then she eventually said something like Al Gore told us all of this. Loony stuff. Can you imagine seeing all those people in Texas? I think 30 people have died from just a lack of power. A lot of bad things happen when it's cold and there's no power. I mean, people get into their cars, they try to heat up their cars, and then accidents happen. Can you imagine seeing that whole situation and thinking, you're Bette Midler? How detached from reality this woman must be that she thinks, I know. I'm going to tweet out that this is punishment for them electing Ted Cruz. That will be my contribution. They're just not good people. And actually, speaking of Ted Cruz, Taylor, we have a statement from him?
Yes, Von Hilliard from NBC News tweeted this out, and it says, statement from Senator Ted Cruz. This has been an infuriating week for Texans. The greatest state in the greatest country in the world has been without power. We have food lines, gas lines, and people sleeping at the neighbors' houses. Our homes are freezing and our lights are out. Like millions of Texans, our family has lost heat and power too. With school canceled for the week, our girls asked to take a trip with friends. Wanting to be a good dad, I flew down with them last night and am flying back this afternoon. My staff and I are in constant communication with state and local leaders to get to the bottom of what happened in Texas. We want our power back, our water on, and our homes warm. My team and I will continue using all our resources to keep Texans informed and safe.
Yeah. I mean, I think that how long it took them to get that statement out kind of tells you what you need to know. But yeah, okay, that works. Come on back. I don't know if you had to go in the first place, but whatever.
He got caught.
Yeah, he got caught. Exactly. He's putting his bathing suit back in the suitcase. He's like, oh, man. But just back to this for a second. Listen, that's Chuck Todd saying, the good side of what's happening in Texas is that people wear a mask. Bette Midler saying this is your punishment for voting for Ted Cruz. And then you have people like Terry Moran saying that Rush Limbaugh was the original troll. Let's play that, Taylor, while we're here. Cut 11.
Rush Limbaugh, the original troll in many ways, changed the way we see and talk about politics for better or worse.
And I guess my point in playing some of this is there's no low that these people won't sink to. And you'll notice this is a one-way street. Like when a Democrat dies, we just play Trump. We don't do this. Republicans don't jump up and down and say, oh, remember when Herman Cain died, how excited they were to say, and he didn't wear a mask. And he was supportive of Donald Trump. It's really, really, really morbid, scary stuff. But I just wanted to let you know that it's not about Rush, and it's really not about Trump. And that's something they both know, or Trump, I should say Rush knew and Trump knows, which is it's really about all of us. It's the irredeemables, it's the rubes, it's the rednecks, it's the bitter clingers. So do not get bent out of shape that they hate you. Instead, embrace it. Be like Rush. Wear it as a badge of honor. I'm trying to do it more and more every day. It's hard for me. I'm, fairly young and I like to be liked. And sometimes that makes you weak when you want to be liked, because I'm looking at these people that say things about people in Texas who are trying not to freeze to death and say, at least now they'll wear masks. And I think that's who I'm trying to be liked by. No more. Stop trying to be liked. If you're good to people, if you listen to people, if you treat other people with respect, then don't feel like you're alone because you dare to think differently than these people do. Because you're not alone. There's a lot of us out there. And I guess it's all to say that I'm very sad that Rush has passed, but I'm not going to spend too much time going over these morons in the media and their hot takes on it, because they didn't understand Rush and they still don't and they never will. But we did. And that's what really counts. Guys, we'll be back on the other side. We got a lot more to get to. We have more sound. Thank you, Taylor, for that update from Ted Cruz. I agree with you. I think he got caught red-handed and he's fine back. But probably the best way he could have handled that situation. Yikes. All right, guys, we'll be back on the other side. I'll open up the phone lines, 844-500-4242. We got Matt Boyle at 1:30 talking about Joe Biden and China. Do not go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
You're listening to The Grace Curley Show.
As this year of COVID draws to a close, it's time to make sure your portfolio is ready for whatever happens next. Kevin Frisbee and the team at Frisbee & Associates are ready to help you. It's called the 100-100 Challenge. If you have $100,000 saved for retirement and come in for that no-cost, no-obligation consultation, you'll walk out with $100 cash. That's right, $100 just to let Kevin do a portfolio x-ray and see what might be hiding in your current plan. Call now for your no-cost or obligation consultation, and you could walk out with $100 cash. Call 800-989-9100. That's 800-989-9100. Kevin is a true fiduciary. That means by law, he's always working in your best interest. And be sure and catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon for a market review and tips on creating the retirement of your dreams. Call Kevin Frisbee today, 800-989-9100. That's 800-989-9100.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
The first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean.
And Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
She's got the voice of an angel.
I've been called the songbird of my generation, of people who've heard me.
It's Grace Curley.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Grace Curley Show. I do have to tell you about a story here that went viral yesterday. There is an editor from the Daily Beast, and his name is Justin Baragona. And he took a screenshot of Tucker Carlson's segment where Tucker was talking about the Green New Deal in AOC. And Tucker, on his right-hand side, had a picture of AOC on the screen. And it was a picture, you've seen it before. It's a picture a lot of people use. And this guy, Justin, blue check, of course, said, so it appears that Tucker's producers added googly eyes to AOC in this image. There's only one problem, though. The image was not doctored with. It was just a photo of AOC, and people had a field day. Don't accuse a picture of being photoshopped with googly eyes if you're not sure that it's photoshopped.
Very sexist of him. I mean, she's a very expressive woman.
Can you imagine if people took still frames of my show? Be googly eye central. I totally feel for AOC on this.
Now you're just asking for it.
But this guy thinks he's helping her or defending her. And the part of it that was so funny was he started tweeting out like, you never want to be it on Twitter. And today I am it. Kind of just, Eeyore felt bad for himself that he was getting dunked on. And people said, it's not that you made a mistake. It's that you wanted people to get so mad at Tucker. And like you wanted people to get their pitchforks about this. And you're wrong. And it leads me to my next point, which is everyone's just got to give it a rest. We just got to give it a rest. Now, there's a story here from Business Insider. Kendall Jenner faces accusations of cultural appropriation after releasing her own tequila brand. First thing I said when I got this story in the green room, I said, doesn't George Clooney have a tequila brand? I know he does because I love the tequila. It's so smooth. I did not know that George Clooney was Mexican. And in fact, some people on Twitter pointed out to the cancel police that not only does George Clooney have that, but Rita Ora and Adam Levine have also made tequila. And P. Diddy and Jay-Z aren't Russian, and they make millions of dollars off vodka. The outrage from people now. And here are some of the tweets about this. So someone was confused by the whole controversy and said, can someone explain to me why it's bad to make tequila? I'm Mexican, but yet I don't understand what's wrong. Don't worry. Cindy on Twitter is going to explain to you what's wrong. Over the years, foreigners have come in to source their products in tequila, but end up paying workers bleep wages and continuing the cycle of worker exploitation while not respecting the history and the culture that surrounds tequila. That's why it's making people mad. And this person says, something about Kendall Jenner making tequila rubs me the wrong way. Like the idea of white celebrities taking from local Mexican artisans and profiting off our traditions and agriculture business, yet only visit Cabo and Puerto Vallarta for vacation spots, and Cancun, if you're Ted Cruz. And not to mention profit off the brown hands that actually plant, grow, harvest, ferment, and distill the agave plants in Jalisco. I've seen this response sometimes on social media, but I just have to say, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. It's a tequila company. I mean, is this where cultural appropriation? Am I allowed to drink tequila, Taylor?
I don't think so. No more Moscow mules either.
Those are those are like my two favorite drinks, margaritas and Moscow mules.
We serve up Mexican mules in the Cormier household, so yeah, we should be canceled.
Double offensive.
Yep.
Yikes. It's really getting out of hand, though. I mean, and I'm not saying like...
Do I have to throw out all my scotch? I'm not Scottish.
Yes, you do.
Damn.
And you have to video it so we know you threw it away.
Some good Lagavulin sitting downstairs. I don't want to throw that down the drain.
Too bad. I don't want to cancel you, but I will if I have to. This cultural appropriation is becoming insane. Like, you can't do anything. Am I only allowed to do things that are part of Irish culture? It's not really fair because, no offense, but our food is not that good. And I know there's going to be people who call up and say, you haven't had soda bread, or, you haven't had my sausage potato. I'm sure it's great. Okay. I'm sure it's great, but let's be real. It's not that good. If you've always wanted to have dinner with me, you can have anything you want. You can have tequila, you can have vodka, you can have tacos, you can have spaghetti, you can have whatever you want. Go to the 110 Grill in Plymouth, Mass. and enter to win. You'll get a free copy of Howie's book, Plug Uglies, just by entering. The night of the dinner will be Friday, February 26th. We'll pick the winner on the 24th. Hurry in soon. Guys, again, you get a free book just for entering. That's the 110 Grill in Plymouth. Taylor, what is the poll question and what are the results thus far?
Who's having a worse PR day? Andrew Cuomo, Ted Cruz, or Charlie Baker?
I'm sticking with Andrew Cuomo. I'm going to stick with Andrew Cuomo.
67% say Andy's having a pretty bad day.
Do you know who you're talking to? You're gonna
feel who I am.
You're gonna feel the wrath. He's gonna destroy you. We'll be back, guys, with Matt Boyle from Breitbart. This is the Grace Curley Show.
If you're a gun owner looking to keep your guns and other valuables locked up, Liberty Safe has earned the title of America's #1 safe. And Dependable Lock Service in Nashua is the area's best Liberty Safe dealer. They have Liberty Safes in stock now. Find the Liberty Safe that's right for you today. Learn more and see the full collection at LibertySafeNewHampshire.com. LibertySafeNewHampshire.com.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, a 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
What does the mainstream media really think of you? Banjos, please.
Bigots and racists. Credulous, rude, tin-toothed, working class, angry, white.
Aging, angry white guys.
Angry white man.
The angry white old men.
These angry white men.
The angry white vote.
All these angry white people.
Too many of them want to see the people who are begging for change put down.
Racist. Racist, bigoted base.
It's white privilege, it's white nationalism, it's anger, it's rage, it's incel.
To tolerate a certain level of racism.
1 in 3 Americans are racist.
The credulous boomer rube demo.
Y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling. Even though my
your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading.
They're too far gone.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at and the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
And now, another minute of Madam Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't.
You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame. Except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
Here's 1 minute of President Eric Swalwell.
Chris, so far, the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election.
But I will always be real with you. I will be bold without the bold. Welcome to my fellow candidates, whom I consider we are all a part of being the Avengers. The Republicans in 2016, that was the Hunger Games. And, it's said often that history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. And we heard a lot of rhymes yesterday. My wife, Brittany, also wants you to know we've got 2 beautiful children, Nelson and Cricket. But the decision to have children was her choice. I'm the only candidate calling for a ban and buyback on every single assault weapon.
Again, we have to have an ankle monitor on this president. This is the worst possible time for a serial offender like him to be running around unsupervised.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio.
Well, what the president, the full context of his comments was also about how during his conversation with President Xi, he talked about the values of the United States, and that the fact is that even when you're communicating with another world leader and you're having a tough conversation, we can't. Our values and our priorities, whether it's human rights as it relates to the Uyghurs and what they have suffered through, or the freedom of press or media, they can't take a back seat. And so the context of his comments were that those are issues he's going to continue to raise.
I find this hilarious because on one hand, Joe Biden is constantly saying, oh, there's a miscommunication. Whatever Jen Psaki said is not true. And then you go to Jen Psaki and she's saying, well, what Joe Biden meant was, in the right context, what he meant was, it's like, do you guys talk? That would be my first question. I'm in the press pool. I would say, hey, Jen, do you talk to the president every day? Because there seems to be a miscommunication between the two of them. Maybe she should circle back with Joe Biden. Anyway, though, guys, we are going to talk about that right now with Matt Boyle from Breitbart. Matt, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, Matt, my first question for you, and I know you wrote a column on this, top conservative lawmakers in the U.S. House of Representatives are launching a legislative blitz against Democrat President Joe Biden, exposing his weakness when it comes to the threat of the Chinese Communist Party. My first question, Matt, has to be, can you explain to people what you mean by legislative blitz for my listeners?
Yeah, so Congressman Jim Banks, who's the chairman of the Republican Study Committee, which is the biggest group of conservative lawmakers in the House of Representatives, it's almost all of the Republican conference. They came out with a flurry of a dozen lawmakers have introduced 17 separate pieces of legislation this week designed to try to highlight the weaknesses that exist in the Biden foreign policy as it relates to the Chinese Communist Party and try to re-implement several of the things that President Trump had in place to check and counter the CCP's rise on the world stage on an economic, a military front, on a human rights front, and so on and so forth. Joe Biden has, in his first month as president, this is the other thing that they released. The Republican Study Committee released a 6-page report, and I think it's required reading for every concerned American out there across the country. It's linked in our story. People can go download the 6-page report and read it for themselves, but it goes through actions that Joe Biden has taken in his first month as president already. So he's been president for just over 4 weeks in a day, so a little over a month. Joe Biden has already significantly empowered, literally on his second day in office, was doing all sorts of different executive actions, empowering the Chinese Communist Party and weakening the United States. Meanwhile, installing people throughout his administration, everybody from Secretary of State Tony Blinken to Secretary of Defense General Lloyd Austin to his National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan to his UN envoy, Linda Thomas Greenfield, who's yet to be confirmed by the Senate, but is the nominee to serve as the UN ambassador or the United States ambassador to the United Nations, all of whom have either taken money from the Chinese Communist Party, have given out speeches at things like the Confucius Institutes, have had business ties with them. I mean, what we see here in the at the outside of the Biden administration is that the United States government, from the State Department to the CIA to the Defense Department to the White House and everywhere, and also the Treasury and Commerce Department, are hopelessly compromised by the Chinese Communist Party and their interests. It is particularly dangerous what we are learning about the Biden administration. In this 6-page report by the Republican Study Committee, along with the 17 bills that these Republican members of Congress have introduced, aim to expose that and try to force the issues out there into the public mindset. Look, the Republicans, we live in the real world here. The Democrats have the majority in the House. They have the majority in the Senate, and they've got the White House. So there's only so much that Republicans can do. But what they are doing is exposing this stuff and taking it to the American people so that hopefully in 2 years when the midterm elections come along, and then in 4 years when the next presidential election comes along, we can fix this mistake that happened and end this era of Joe Biden and Democrat complete control in Washington. And the way you do that is you take the information to the American people and you show them. You don't tell them. You show them that what Biden's doing in his actions. And the other thing that's really important is Psaki there, that clip you played about her talking about the conversation that Joe Biden had with Xi Jinping. It demonstrates that they're saying all the right things, right? The rhetoric all sounds good and everything, but then when it comes to actual actions, they're not following through on this. And you've heard
Matt,
from Biden himself.
Can I interrupt you for a sec here? Because when I heard Biden's answer, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on all of this, I followed how Biden stands on it. 1 minute he says China's going to eat our lunch. The next minute he says they're not going to eat our lunch. He's very inconsistent in that way. But when I heard his response about China during the town hall on, I believe it was Tuesday night, I was kind of blown away. And I want to play it for everybody here. I was blown away with how obvious it seemed that he was just becoming a patsy. Like I knew that was going to happen, but it was very transparent that he wasn't going to push back on the Chinese government at all. I'm going to play you this cut and get your reaction.
And so the idea, I'm not going to speak out against what he's doing in Hong Kong, what he's doing with the Uyghurs in western mountains of China, and Taiwan trying to end the one China policy by making it forceful. I said, and by the he said he gets it. Culturally, there are different norms at each country, and their leaders are expected to follow.
Matt, what do you think about that? Culturally, there are different norms. It reminds me of when Pelosi said about Ilhan Omar, she has a different experience in the use of words. It's kind of excusing bad behavior.
So what Joe Biden's doing here is he's demonstrating that what he's going to continue to do is just say all the right things, right? Like he's going to offer the right rhetoric out there. He's going to say this stuff in the calls, but then he's also revealing that he's just going through the motions. He doesn't intend to back any of it up with actual actions. And at the same time, he's also rationalizing and explaining away what Xi Jinping is doing, engaged in atrocities. He's in saying that it's explaining that, oh, well, that's okay because it's okay in their culture. Well, it's not okay. It's not okay to go engage in systemic elimination of an entire race or an entire ethnicity. That's not acceptable. And Joe Biden needs to stop rationalizing the Chinese Communist Party's efforts to eliminate an entire population of people. That's what they're doing with these Uyghur camps, and Joe Biden is in league with them on this. And again, the American people need to know. They need to read this report from the Republican Study Committee because it goes through in great detail how everybody from Joe Biden himself, from executive actions that he signed, through different things that his cabinet members and cabinet nominees have done and said and promised during the beginning of this administration in just the first few weeks, has empowered America's greatest adversary and undermined the United States on the world stage, hurting American workers. This is not a game. This is not politics. This is serious stuff. And these are bad people over in Beijing. They are bad people who want to take over the world. That is the way Beijing sees it. They see it as they are the center of the world and that they will supplant the United States as the world superpower, as the sole world superpower, which the United States has been since the fall of the wall and the end of the Soviet Union. in the early 1990s, after Ronald Reagan's, Mr. Gorbachev tear down this wall speech, right? So
Right.
Since then, the United States has been the sole world superpower. But in the early 1990s, the Chinese Communist Party set out a plan that they've been following through on for decades now, and that they are very, very close to. And they probably would have already been there had Hillary Clinton won the election in 2016. If Donald Trump and Secretary Pompeo and Vice President Pence weren't able to do the things that they did in the last 4 years to counter and check the Chinese with tariffs, with various other policies, military efforts. Another big story that's worth tracking is what Biden's doing with the seaways in the South China Sea and in the Taiwan Strait. But what Biden is doing is a wholesale surrender to the Chinese Communist Party, and he's bowing down before Xi Jinping and rationalizing away what he's trying to do to take over the world. And again, the only way to stop this is for the American people to elect a House Republican majority and a Senate Republican majority in 2022, and then elect a new Republican president in 2024. Because in the meantime, to see the Republicans continue to expose these actions that Biden's engaged in of subversion of the United States and efforts to empower our greatest adversary.
Now, Matt, I saw reports today that Biden had already called a lid because of the weather. I don't know what the weather is in D.C. I'm assuming it's snow. But he's already kind of taking the slide today. And, there's reports out that he's playing Mario Kart. He's stoking a fire, all these things. And then in the meantime, we hear that Kamala Harris, the vice president, is taking major calls with heads of states. And like you said, we're only about 4 weeks into this administration. Does that scare you a little bit that as bad as Biden is, I don't feel much better about Kamala taking these big calls?
I don't like Kamala Harris taking these calls. It is a job of the vice president, however, to take calls from foreign leaders. So it's not that outside the normal. And Biden has talked to several of these world leaders that she's talking to as well. But it is a normal kind of one of the duties of the vice president. So I wouldn't read too far into that. I do think, though, however, that Biden is asleep at the switch. He's not delivering on solving all of these problems. Look, we're a month into his administration. 100,000 people have already died from coronavirus on Joe Biden's watch. What happened to the media keeping track of that? I don't know. Did they take their counters down off of CNN and MSNBC? But the thing is that they still have zero legislative accomplishments. They've only got a little bit of their cabinet together. Put into place. The cabinet members that they do have and the nominees that they've put forward, again, as we laid out here, are hopelessly compromised by the Chinese Communist Party and financial interests of CCP-backed state-backed enterprises and institutions like the Confucius Institutes and various other companies, among many, many other serious deep flaws with the Biden administration. Meanwhile, Texas is having serious weather problems today. There are serious problems all around the country. There's power problems down in Texas. Where's Joe Biden? Why isn't he solving these problems? Why is he hiding in the basement? Again, you cannot run the White House from the basement. You need to be out there front and center and solving problems for the country. He's not doing that.
There's a lot of stories that he's early to bed. So it is 1:45. Who knows? Who knows what early means in the Biden administration?
We don't know. We don't really know that much. And the media is asleep at the switch, too. They're not doing their jobs. There have been a handful of reporters in that White House briefing room that ask a series of sometimes decent questions, but for the most part, the media's not doing their job. The Biden administration's not doing their job. The Democrats in Congress are not doing their job. And guess who pays the price? The American worker.
Absolutely.
The American worker are the ones who pay the price when this happens. And so that's the ultimate thing here is the American people can course correct this in 2 years and in 4 years, and they can end this error if they get going right now.
Matt Boyle, everyone should check out his stuff on Breitbart. I thank you so much for being with us, Matt. You're always an expert on all things China, on all things the Biden administration, the Biden crime family, the Biden Five, whatever you want to call them. We thank you for joining the show. We hope you'll join us again soon. Guys, I have great news for my listeners. The Gen 40 heater is back and just in time for this really, really cold time of year. We're in the stretch right now. This is the really hard part of winter where it kind of feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But there is. And that light is the Gen 40 heater. Because even though you feel cold and you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to have to heat up this whole house, it's going to cost me all of this money. It's not, because this heater, you plug it in, and it heats up right where you are. So you're not heating the entire house. You're heating where you're sitting. Maybe Taylor's having a nice glass of scotch in front of the TV in the living room. He doesn't need to have the whole house heated up.
No, absolutely not. It's just that one room that you're in. You can take it with you whatever room you're going into. I visited my parents' house a couple of weekends ago. My father told me, he says, we've been using the Eden Pure Gen 40 heater for years, some version of it. And I said, I didn't know that. He said, yeah, remember that portable heater I had when you were growing up? That was an Eden Pure. I said, no way. So it's been in the family for generations.
It's a family tradition.
That's
Maybe
right.
someday Harrison will pass that on. That's Taylor's son. He'll buy a Gen 40 for his son. Wow, that's amazing. But guys, if you want to check out the Eden Pure Gen 40 heater, it will pay for itself in a matter of weeks. This is the best part. It saves you money. That's what we're all trying to get at the end of the day. We're trying to stay warm and save money, and this does both. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word HowieDeal to get $50 off the sale price. That's EdenPure.com and use code word HowieDeal for an extra $50 off. These heaters are in high demand, so go right now to EdenPure.com. We're going to open up the phone lines, and we're going to talk in this next segment about school openings. There's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of people in the Biden administration who can't seem to get their talking points right. They're all over the map. We're going to play you some of that sound. What do you think? Are schools going to open up in May, like Joe Biden says? Are they going to be open in the summer? Are they going to be open next fall, next Christmas? Where does it end? 844-500-4242. We'll be right back. This is The Grace Curley Show.
The Grace Curley Show will be right back.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
This is The Grace Curley Show.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Grace Curley Show. I do have to issue a correction. In one of our past segments, I disparaged Irish cooking, Irish cuisine. And while I stand by 99% of that statement, I forgot that Irish people have created the best butter on earth, which is Kerrygold butter. And for that, I am sorry, because it is so delicious, grass-fed, amazing. So there you go. There's one good thing. While everybody else will be eating pizza and spaghetti and tacos, I will be eating straight butter. I do want to talk a little bit here about the schools reopening. It seems like the Biden administration cannot figure out where they stand on this. And the reason why is fairly obvious. They're scared of the teachers' unions, which I saw some woman on CNN yesterday basically admit that the teachers' unions are powerful and intimidating. And I thought, well, yeah, that makes sense. That's why Joe Biden is able to be bullied by them. So let's play Jen Psaki on teacher vaccination. This is cut 2.
The president and the vice president both believe that teachers should be prioritized. And as you all know, that's up to states to determine. There are federal recommendations. About half of the country, about half of the states in the country have prioritized teachers, and they both feel that's important, including child health care workers. And they both feel that that's something that is impacting working women and moms who are trying to go back to work and trying to make sure that their kids have the attention and child care they need. So it's not a requirement to reopen schools, but they believe that teachers should be prioritized.
I have to say, this administration does a fabulous job of never giving an answer. She speaks in circles. There's no yes, there's
That's
no...
why she circles back.
It makes sense. Did you see that new song that's on YouTube about Jen Psaki?
I heard Matt playing it the other day.
No, that was a good one. That was a cool one. The one of that woman who's singing about Jen Psaki.
No, I didn't see that one.
She's like worshiping her. She thinks she's so great. I'll show you it during the break. Guys, if you've always wanted to have dinner with me, go to the 110 Grill. Did I already do the poll question? I already did the poll question, which is great because I have other cuts here I want to play. So we have Jen Psaki, and now this is what she says. She continues on this. This is cut 3.
You've said that the president's preference is that states prioritize teachers. Mm-hmm. This is a vaccine that's being provided for free to the states by the federal government. Can't you mandate that states prioritize teachers?
We can provide federal guidelines, which is exactly what we've done, but we work in close partnership and coordination with states to make recommendations on the prioritization, and they implement. Of course, the power of the presidency and the power of the vice presidency is certainly conveying what their preference is, which they have both done over the last 24 hours, but that's not how the process has worked, and I don't anticipate that's how it would work moving forward.
Okay, there's no answer there. What I do want to say, though, guys, is before we go to the break here, I'm going to get Howie on a little earlier in the 2 o'clock hour to talk about this disaster rollout of the vaccination website. But in the next segment, I want to talk to you guys. Lent has officially started. Are you giving something up? Jen Psaki, I think, found out from Joe Biden if he's giving something up. 844-500-4242. Call in. This is The Grace Curley Show.
I've been on Balance 7 for 2 weeks now, and I cannot believe my energy. Last weekend, I was feeling so good I did 3 bike rides. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. You feel better, and I personally sleep better. It also reduces acid reflux and heartburn. Often I'm asked to try products, and I can be very skeptical of the claims. But with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I don't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wears on. By allowing me to sleep better at night, I have more mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body over time. All you do is drink a small shot of the liquid 3 times a day and you will feel the difference. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or sleep issues, give Balance 7 a try. Order any of the 1-month supply and put in code word Howie. You'll save $10 and get free shipping. That's Balance7, the number 7.com. Balance7.com. Code word Howie.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com. Brace yourself, guys. Here's 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. That they wanted their voices to be heard. I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they are not getting paid 163 Republicans voted no. Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, yes, ma'am. The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
Everyone knows I love coffee and I'm not giving it up. I know that it would keep me up from time to time, but no longer with Balance 7. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. When it does this, you'll feel better, and I sleep better. Often I'm asked to try products, and I can be very skeptical on their claims. But with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I didn't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wore on, because by sleeping better at night, it also gave me mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body. Balance 7 is also known for reducing acid reflux and heartburn as it did for the mailroom manager. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or sleep issues, you should give Balance 7 a try. Order the 8-ounce 12-pack supply at balance7.com. Put in code word Howie. You will save $10 and you'll also get free shipping. Balance7.com.
Brace yourself, guys. Here's 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi. I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. That they wanted their voices to be heard. I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they are not getting paid 163 Republicans voted no. Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, yes, ma'am. The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
This is going to sound immodest, but I'm obviously a top-tier candidate. I've had a lot of titles over my career, and certainly vice president will be great, but Mamala will always be the one that means the most. They said, well, do you think Trump is responsible for what happened? And I said, well, look, I mean, obviously he didn't pull the trigger, but he's certainly been tweeting out the ammunition. And that's why do gotta go. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories. You know, I'm just gonna engage in real talk. I don't want to waste your time with anything else.
What is your favorite musical genre?
Oh, I mean, I'm hip hop and reggae and jazz. Those are some of my favorites.
Okay.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay.
And I inhale. I did inhale.
Cory Booker said it best.
There are definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.
Here's stumbling and mumbling Joe Biden.
David Duke, the former leader of the KKK. The Ku Klux Klan is the Ku Klux Klan. 8 more years of Donald Trump will change America in a fundamental way. But if Donald Trump is reelected, Freudian slip, and the demagogues around the world. We also have a mechanism to control drug prices. Folks at the folks at Health and the Health Department in the United States, HHS. It would put 720 million women back in the workforce. I never ever thought that I'd see what I saw in Charlotte.
Would you or would you not rejoin the TPP, yes or no?
I would not rejoin the TTP. They're going out and getting G5 and going to dominate. I mean, what are we doing? The bills that the future president here, that the senator's talking about.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love. And to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives. I don't want some jack loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it.
She's the Boston Herald's wittiest wordsmith, the last woman standing at the Whiskey Priest. Once a very legitimate magazine that we definitely didn't make up named her the Michael Jordan of radio. Wait, don't you think we're laying it on a little thick here, Grace?
Just stick to the script.
Oh, okay. Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Hello, New England. Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show. We got a lot to get to today. I'm going to be talking to Howie a little bit later about the Massachusetts vaccine rollout. You will be shocked to know that it is unexpectedly a hot mess. I'm surprised. I thought that given the competence of our government here, our local government in Massachusetts, that we would really excel at this. But it would appear that the website has crashed this morning. So I guess today they opened it up for anyone 65 and older. And Charlie Baker was confident that the website was going to be smooth sailing, I think. And Taylor watches these a little bit closer than I do. But is there a cut, Taylor, of him talking about the website?
Well, I think we had, after this story broke earlier today, I think we had 250,000 visits to the state's website, which processed, people got on the site. But you can't actually sign up until tomorrow. So I think the website will be in good shape for this. The call center has done a really nice job taking care of folks who are 75 and older. We do want to continue to make that available as we get into some of these other populations for people who can't access an appointment through the website.
The Massachusetts Vaccination Finder website was experiencing technical difficulties Thursday morning as about 1 million people became newly eligible to get the vaccine for the first time. A high volume of traffic is expected to have contributed to the crash. I know there's frustration. This is what the Department of Public Health Commissioner, Dr. Monica Burrell, said. I know there's frustration to this, and I don't know the exact IT issue as to why it crashed, but we are working to resolve it. I asked individuals to continue to check back, and it should be resolved shortly. They also have a quote in this article that I enjoyed. Resident Dodie McPhee said she woke up at 5 a.m. after seeing that she and her husband, a retired IT engineer, were now eligible for the vaccine. She said, the MassGov VaxFinder website is crashing this morning, 8 a.m., and everything is still crashing, and my husband is chuckling at all of this stupidity. We have 2 computers going and our iPhones in the hopes one of us will get lucky. I'm sure many people are doing the same thing. We are disappointed that the amount of vaccine coming into Massachusetts is so limited. Also, that Governor Charlie Baker thinks lumping us all into bulk groups to get our vaccines is a great idea. The reason I say disappointed like that is because that's usually a word that Charlie Baker uses. So I'm enjoying hearing people use it for his website. If you guys want to call in about this, I know people have very strong opinions about the vaccine website, 844-500-4242. I did want to briefly mention, though, it is Lent. And Jen Psaki, we were talking to Matt Boyle from Breitbart, and he made a point that besides a handful of reporters, not a lot of tough questions are being asked right now at these press conferences. I would agree to disagree, because some of these questions, man, you really got to be on your A game to get these right. This is cut 9.
Question from this morning. The president received ashes for Ash Wednesday. What, if anything, is he giving up for Lent?
Oh, what a good question. I should have asked him that question today. I will have to follow up with you on that particular question. I don't know. Sometimes people don't give something up. Sometimes they do something good. So it could be either option, but I will see if I can get more information.
I do have to say that was always my MO as a kid. Like my cousins would give up Coke or something. And I would always say, I'm going to do something nice instead of give something up. I'm going to make my bed.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you circle back with them. What am I giving up? I'll get back to you on that.
Mom, I will check in. I will circle back, but it's probably going to be broccoli. No, every year we would give up.
That's a really good question. Wow. Thank you for asking that.
Mom, thank you so much for asking me that question. I will try to get back to you. I cannot promise when it will be, but really great stuff, guys. No, but I remember as kids, we would always give up soda. But then it was always during school break that we had, school break was during Lent. So if we ever went away somewhere, you know how they have those all-inclusive packages for kids where the kids can drink as much soda and snacks as they want? So my mom would look at all of us and say, listen, Lent is on pause for this week. Drink as much soda as you want. Because it was part of the vacation deal. And she wanted to get her money's worth. So she would just say, no holds bar. Don't worry about, God's good on this. Don't you worry about it. This year I'm giving up dessert at night. So I'm not giving it up. Like, I still have cookies and chocolate and stuff in the office.
That's such a scapegoat. Oh, my God. You can't do it by time frame. If you're going to give it up, you give it up entirely.
Well, I would beg to differ because I gave it up.
I'm going to give up swearing at night. So you can swear as much as you want during the day and it's okay? Come on, Grace.
Exactly, Taylor. First of all, this is a no judgment zone in here.
Not when I'm around.
I'm giving up sweets, my little dish of ice cream at night. If I gave it up during the day, Taylor, I'm doing it for your sake. Do you know what a monster I would be if I didn't have a little nibble of chocolate here and there? I'd be out of control. What's next? I'm going to give up my wine? Please. Fred.
What kind of wine do you drink?
I like a nice glass of cab.
That's not too sweet. That's not sweet at all.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that sugar is a real thing. Being addicted to sugar, like after I eat a meal, something salty, I can feel my taste buds craving something sweet.
Would you give up dessert wines as well? Are dessert wines included in your dessert Lent giving upness?
Well, okay, so to be honest, I've never been good at the Lent thing. I even sometimes, and a lot of people are going to be ashamed of me here, because I am a good Catholic girl, but I even sometimes forget about the meat thing. I've caught myself on many occasions.
I just gave you some AOC googly eyes.
Really? I know. But I remember when I was young, I would say to my mom, and I don't want to throw my mom under the bus, but I remember when I was young, I'd say like, Mom, I know it's Friday, but I have this half of a BLT from yesterday. And she would kind of say to me sometimes like, well, it'd be sinful to waste it, to throw it away so you can have it. So that's why my standards are a little off with that. Fred, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Go ahead, Fred.
Hey, Grace, how's it going?
Good, what's up?
This is more than just a website and technology issue. I mean, we're also talking about the priority for the vaccine. And to my way of thinking, there need to be a lot more shades of gray here instead of opening it up to this huge group. I mean, they should have just ratcheted it down from 75 to 72. I mean, I know someone who's 74 with both cancer and cardiac issues. And that person should not have to elbow his way past a healthy 66-year-old.
No, Fred, I totally agree with you. And it seems like there's not a lot of organization. There's not a lot of specificity to this process. And when you think about it, Fred's absolutely right. A 65-year-old and a 74-year-old, very different. And I don't know why they dropped it right down to 65, but obviously a lot of 65-year-olds, probably healthy ones, are jumping on board. They want that vaccine.
I do believe, though, if you have 2 or more comorbidities, you're able to get into the line regardless of your age.
Well, I don't know, but I have to say this. The website crashed, and now they're talking about the weather being a real factor, and that the bad weather is going to slow these vaccines down. You guys probably heard Howie Carr read a story a few weeks ago from an email that we received here at the studio. I forwarded it over to Howie, a guy who was with his mom in the cold, and they're out there, and then they get up to the thing and they say, oh, sorry, none left. You got to come back tomorrow. It just seems like a disaster. If you've had a bad experience with it or a good experience, 844-500-4242. I am going to be talking to Howie about this a little bit later. But it does seem like that's what people want to talk about is this vaccine. It's a big deal. Like I said, if you have people on the Globe website who are not happy about this, then you know that you've lost the left. It's true what they say at Perfect Smiles. Change your smile, change your life. I saw the change with Howie and with the mailroom manager. Many people walk around not smiling because they aren't happy with their teeth. And it really does affect a lot of different parts of your life. If you're insecure about your smile, you don't smile, and that's just not a good way to live. It really is amazing to watch their testimonial videos at perfectsmiles.com. I think Howie's is up there. You'll see these incredible transformations. Dr. Houghton really is an artist, and he's an incredibly nice guy. Perfect Smiles is conveniently located in Nashua, New Hampshire. Parking is free. The staff is warm and welcoming. If you've been wanting to upgrade your look for years, stop delaying. People delay this for a long time. And they go, I'll do it next year. I'll do it next year. And then you do it and you go, why did I wait so long? Well, this is your sign to call them today. Contact them today and look at their video testimonials. Go to perfectsmiles.com. That's perfectsmiles.com. Change your smile. Change your life. We'll be back on the other side with more of your calls. 1-844-500-4242. What do you think about this website crash? Are you surprised? I'm guessing the answer is going to be no. We'll be back on the other side. This is The Grace Curley Show.
She's never held office, but she paid the whiskey priest's monthly rent once. She's Grace Curley.
This hour of The Grace Curley Show is brought to you in part by the Follinsby Inn in North Sutton, New Hampshire. Do what I did and enjoy this beautiful inn. To reserve your room, go to follinsbyinn.com. You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying. Hitler was a Christian. Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman.
Did you have tanning lotion on,
A
Joy?
little, I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor. Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape. I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something. It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president of the next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall. Anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Chris.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920 and not 2020.
Was I wearing a tiara when I came in here? Because if you happen upon it, will you have Lady Pennyface retrieve it and send it post-hence?
She's the epitome of class, style, and sophistication. She's Grace Curley.
So the Biden administration is saying by the summer, by July, I believe President Biden said 600 million doses, so enough for 300 million Americans. In effect, that they are speeding up production. There is some evidence of that, right, based on what the companies are saying. Do you find that goal realistic, particularly now that we have this interruption of the winter weather?
Jim, I do. Don't confuse the fact at this point that the weather is going to slow down production. That is still happening. It's just when it gets into people's arms, which will be slightly delayed.
I'm really confused, and I'll tell you why. When I talk to different people about going back to normal, on one hand, you have people who there's no doubt. Kara Markowitz yesterday called them the pajama class. They work from home. They are in their pajamas all day. They get things delivered. There is no end in sight. But then on the other hand, you have people who say, and I have some friends who are in the medical industry, and they go, "Oh my God, of course it's probably by the summer." And I'll say, "Oh, really? You think so?" And they go, "Well, yeah, we have all these vaccines. Tons of people are getting vaccinated." What I'm seeing on the media and from the Democrats is very different. Like when I talk to actual people in the field who seem to think that we're on the right path and that a lot of people are getting vaccinated, I don't know what to believe. And it doesn't help that every time I see Dr. Fauci, by the way, that was Michael Osterholm. He's one of the experts on COVID. Every time I see Dr. Fauci, he's got a different thing he's telling me. Sometimes it's looking good, and sometimes it's, the MLB will be okay in 2025. So I don't know what to believe. If you've always wanted to have dinner with me, go to the 110 Grill in Plymouth, Mass. and enter to win. You will also get a free copy of Howie Carr's book, Plug Uglies. The night of the dinner will be Friday, February 26th, and the winner will be announced on the 24th. So hurry in soon. It's next week, guys, so make sure you get to that soon. Go to the 110 Grill in Plymouth. Taylor is on the board today. Taylor, what is the poll question and what are the results thus far?
Who's having a worse PR day? Andrew Cuomo, Ted Cruz, or Charlie Baker?
Andrew Cuomo's having a whopper of a week or maybe 2 weeks. Ted Cruz is having a bad single day. I mean, this story just broke this morning and it's not good optics, but I'm still going to say Cuomo wins.
Ted Cruz and Charlie Baker are tied at 18%, with Andrew Cuomo holding the majority at 64%.
Very good, very good. Bill, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, Grace, I was listening to you and your associate about the vaccination rollout and the screw-up, and I'm involved trying to get one for my wife. I did get one a couple of weeks ago. But he mentioned the comorbidities.
Yeah.
And they're not just wide open. There's 20 of them was by strict definition. And the reason I know that is my wife and I both have AFib, if you're familiar with that.
I'm not really. Tell me a little bit about it.
Okay, it's an irregular heartbeat, and you have to take medicine twice a day. And if you don't, you have a significant risk of stroke. Okay, so it's an atrial fibrillation. Very common, but it can kill you or badly hurt you. And that is one of the ones not on the list, yet obesity and smoking is on the list, which makes no sense to me at all.
So what you're saying is that these comorbidities, it's not just any sort of comorbidity. It has to fit on this list of 20 things. Yeah, well, I do understand partially why smoking and obesity, it does affect. COVID does seem to really do a number on your lungs, and people who are smokers don't have great lungs to begin with. And as far as obesity, I think that that's a huge comorbidity that kind of affects whether or not you're going to die from COVID. But Bill, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I'm looking at this list here of the rules. It says individuals 65 and over, including residents and staff of low income and affordable public and private senior housing, are eligible to receive vaccine Thursday, February 18th. Residents and staff of low income and affordable public and private senior housing can learn more. So there's a lot of different rules here. I don't think they're making it very clear for people. Thank you for the call, Bill. John, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Grace. I love speaking with you. Liz, what about this thought? So Gillette Stadium, they give let's say they give about 1,000 shots a day.
Right.
So you get your shot February 1st. Now you got to go back on the 28th day, right?
Right.
So that means all 1,000 people have to go back on the 28th day. So that means no new people can get shots. Now, if you got your shot on February 2nd, you got to go back March 1st. So now what happens is all those shots, so now you'd have to triple the shots at each facility. So now there's going to be a 28-day of no new shots, because all the second shots are taking up the appointment.
Yeah, that's a good point. These were all questions that I would think that the government would have been working on over the last couple of months. Do you think they have been, John? Because I'm not going to do any good. I mean, I'm just on the radio.
My wife's high risk. She's 68, so she jumped on this morning, and when I went to bed last night, I said, it's going to explode, the website. I said they need to call, someone from Amazon, Google, to get that to work, because it's just not going to work. Look at the Department of Unemployment. That thing's crashing all the time. So what's the difference?
Well, John, you know what you just made me think of is, I don't know why we're surprised the website didn't work when these are the same people, Massachusetts people that ran the RMV. And Taylor, if I'm not mistaken, where were a lot of those? What were they? Old licenses or old applications? They were found somewhere.
In a room.
I should not be surprised that this is not going as smoothly as Charlie Baker had hoped, John.
What about the Obamacare website? That thing crashed. They couldn't get that. They spent $80 billion on that thing. It's ridiculous. $80 billion on the healthcare.gov website for, Obamacare. So I'm not surprised. I expected it. Thank goodness I'm healthy.
No, I expected it too. I mean, it's crazy. You'd think they could get a Mark Zuckerberg or Jack Dorsey, someone with a little bit of knowledge on this. Someone to help with the website and figure it out. You need, I think.
Some mother on maternity leave, anything.
anyone who knows anything about websites and computers and servers. I'm not saying call Grace Curley or call Howie Carr, but there's got to be some people out there who could have made it run better than this. It opens up and it crashes immediately. Guys, we have a lot more to get to. We're going to bring on Howie Carr earlier than usual to talk about this. He is all riled up. But I did want to tell you guys a quick update. Remember yesterday how people were pouncing and seizing on Joe Biden's mistake about the vaccines? He said when we entered the White House, we did not have the vaccine. Well, Paul Waldman from the Washington Post, he wants to let you know something. He said, let's worry less about catching Biden in a gotcha over his COVID promises and more about whether his administration is actually succeeding. Dear media, on the pandemic, watch Biden's actions, not his words. Do you think they watched Trump's actions? They were obsessed with his 6th grade level words, or was it 4th grade level? I can't remember. 844-500-4242. We'll be back on the other side, everyone. This is The Grace Curley Show.
The Subaru of New England, Washington's birthday sales event lasts all month long. Feel the freedom in a brand new all-wheel drive 2021 Subaru Crosstrek with standard EyeSight driver assist technology, starting at $22,245 with 0.9% financing for up to 48 months. Or lease for only $229 per month for 36 months with $24.29 due at signing. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, a 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love. And to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives. I don't want some loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it. All right, here is the official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony. Hey, this guy's a great big phony.
Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out.
Oh, my. Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beats for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beats? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beats are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beat and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beats? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Superbeets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Superbeets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com. Here's 1 minute with Governor
Charlie Parker in Massachusetts.
I'd certainly put myself on that list. I'm a basketball player. I always was.
There's a lot at stake here.
This is not a virus to be trifled with or disrespected.
Respect the virus.
I have a hard time understanding when we're going to be able to play basketball again.
We can start talking about a gradual, careful, data-driven, phased reopening. Don't let a few nice days step on that.
I need to talk to the Attorney General and find out what the actual parameters of the ruling are. Did this just happen? And the reason I read that story is because I'm a basketball player and I agree. I was first made aware of the discrepancy on this on the day that the registrar resigned. The vast majority, and I mean like the vast majority of the people who are part of these protests are there to make a point and to make it peacefully. That is so obvious, I'm amazed that anybody could say anything other than that. I would love to be able to open everything up tomorrow. That would be an incredibly irresponsible thing to do.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio.
I can say I'm not sure if we'll release a statement from the president. He has spoken to in the past to Rush Limbaugh's sickness and illness at the time, and certainly his condolences go out to the family and the friends of Rush Limbaugh who have lost him today. But I don't know that I anticipate a statement from the president, but I can certainly pass on his condolences and expression of support for the family.
That was White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki talking about the passing of Rush Limbaugh. I want to stick on this vaccination situation, though, in Massachusetts. The website came out today, and for people 65 and older, I just had a very interesting call with a man who told me he had no issues with it. But some people have. Some people have found it very cumbersome, and it is difficult to work when it crashes. But Taylor brought up a great point about the mom who built her own website to simplify the mass vaccine sign-up process, and she was doing such a better job that they brought her on board. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe they started to collaborate with her on how she built her website. I don't know all the particulars about it, but it was amazing that you have a team of software developers at the state level building a website, and this is what happens when a committee gets together. You know, the old saying goes, a camel is a horse designed by a committee. And it's sluggish. It doesn't work as well. It doesn't do what it was designed to do. It doesn't look how it was designed to look initially. So this mother, she's a software developer. She just had her baby.
2-month-old baby.
Yep. And so she's on maternity leave, and she decided to build a better website, something that was a lot more streamlined and effective. And the best part of it was more intuitive. You could understand it.
Yeah, this is a quote from her. Her name is Olivia Adams. She said, well, the state's website has a centralized location. There's like a different website for each place, and they all operate slightly differently. And there's no good way to say, like, okay, what places have availability in the next week, or how many shots are available? Am I wasting my time calling every CVS around me to see what the heck is going on? So, it's amazing what people can do in their spare time. If only the people actually in charge could be that creative. I do want to talk about something here, and it's not too off topic. It's about some of these Democrats both in the media right now and in politics. I find it amazing that these people just spent taxpayer money and so much time talking about how Donald Trump, with his violent rhetoric, incited an insurrection. I got that right. I didn't Chuck Schumer that. I was a little nervous, but I got it out right. And now I want you to listen to some of the rhetoric. And it's not like this is anything new, but this comes on the heels of the story about Andrew Cuomo calling up Ron Kim, a New York assemblyman, and saying that he was going to destroy him and that he was...
And you don't answer my call?
That was Robert De Niro. But, I mean, that is one of Andrew Cuomo's heroes, I believe. He said he was going to be De Niro. Fauci was going to be Pacino. Who's to say? And this just all of this is from the Democrats. Like, you don't hear about Republicans calling up people saying, I'm going to destroy you. you're going to feel my wrath. Who do you think you are? Listen to this is Tim Miller of the... Now, do you know what publication he writes for, Taylor?
The Bulwark?
Oh, the Bulwark. Okay. He says, I wish... let's just hear. This is on, I believe, a TV show. He was on today talking about Trump buildings. This is the party of unity and ushering in decency. This is cut 14.
I've heard from folks when I'm, firing off tweets about Trump, telling me to shut up about it, and we should just be quiet and not talk about him anymore. And I understand that point of view. Everybody wants to move on. I wish we could just kind of blow up all of the Trump buildings like that with nobody in them and just kind of erase them from our memory, and Men in Black style.
Blow up all the Trump buildings? Who does he think he is, Madonna? You can't get away with that kind of talk. That's dangerous.
Was the White House now considered a Trump building?
I'm blown away, and none of us should be surprised. This is all okay if you are a Democrat. And Andrew Cuomo just did this, I think it was within the last couple of weeks. He called up Ron Kim and said, now Ron Kim's uncle passed away in the nursing homes, and he has been a really outspoken critic of Andrew Cuomo, which does not sit well with King Cuomo. So he called him up. Listen to Ron Kim describing this conversation. This is cut 15.
Governor Cuomo called me the next day at 8 p.m. while I was about to bathe my kids. I was with my wife, and for 10 minutes, he berated me. He yelled at me. He told me that my career will be over. He's been biting his tongue for months against me, and I had tonight, not tomorrow, tonight, to issue a new statement, essentially asking me to lie, and asking me, like, I heard and I saw a crime the other day. And he's asking me that I did not see that crime.
He duckload you. That's what we're going to call it now. When someone calls you up and threatens to destroy you. It doesn't happen to most normal people often, but I guess in these liberal circles, that's kind of something that happens quite frequently. If you've been thinking of getting away to the Fallensby Inn, please consider coming the weekend of February 19th. I'm announcing my first listener getaway, and I cannot wait to enjoy a wonderful weekend with all of you. Take advantage of this offer. For just my listeners, you will receive 10% off for that weekend. Besides enjoying a cocktail by the fire, we will also enjoy Dennis's famous homemade breakfast. Guys, I'm not sure if there's any rooms left, but even if you can't go this weekend, check out the Fallensby Inn. It is so awesome. The food is delicious. There's so much to do. Quintessential New England. Dennis keeps the place absolutely pristine, and he puts so much care into it. And I wasn't that familiar with going to inns, but now that I have, I love it. It's so cozy, and it's just a really nice place to be. And if you need a weekend to reset and decompress, this is the perfect place to do it. You will feel like you're back in your grandmother's kitchen when you eat Dennis's cooking. He's from New Orleans, so the grits, everything is just to die for. This time of year, you can take advantage of the inn's snowshoes and discover the beautiful area. To reserve your room today, go to fallensbyinn.com. Excellence is assured. TripAdvisor has given the Fallensby Inn the Hall of Fame Award for 2018 and 2019. Fallensbyinn.com, the best of the past. We will be back on the other side for an extended edition of our daily crossover with Howie Carr. He's going to fill us in on Governor Parker and, all the dysfunction that happens here in Massachusetts. Don't go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
Follow Grace on Twitter at @G_Curley.
Whether it's global warming, global cooling, or climate change, one thing's for certain, the progressive moonbats can't stop talking about it.
We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
I've spent a lot of time now with these young students, and they're scared. And a lot of young people are even suffering from, they're calling it extinction illness.
So that we can have people here who truly are committed to climate change, believe in climate change as though it's a religion, it's not a science.
A woman whose dreams of motherhood now taste bittersweet because of what I know about our children's future.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
That curing cancer is going to be much more difficult when there's so much climate change and pollutants in the environment, because a lot of cancer is environmentally caused.
Recognizing and acknowledging the link between animal agriculture and climate change is a very bold move, making tonight plant-based.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon, when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
Follow Grace on Twitter at @G_Curly.
The question of when we get some semblance of normalcy, that timeline also seems to be shifting. Dr. Fauci had said a sense of normalcy maybe in the fall. That's when you might be able to go to theaters, go to sporting events, still with masks, of course. Now it seems that's being slid to early next year. The president said maybe around Christmas. What's going on here? When do we think we will get back to some taste of normalcy?
Well, this is the question, as I'm sure is the case for all of you, that every neighbor, every friend, every family member asks, at least me in the street when I'm walking my dog in the morning. We want to be straight with the American public, though. We are not in a place where we can predict exactly when everybody will feel normal again.
She's always got to make it so cutesy when I'm walking my dog in the morning. Give me a break. Give it a rest, Jen Psaki. Now we have Howie Carr joining us. Welcome to the show, Howie Carr.
I want a surveillance camera on Jen Psaki in the morning and see if she picks up after the beast.
Oh, Howard, I'm sure she does.
I'm not so sure.
Okay, Howie, so fill us in now. I know that you were trolling the Boston Globe message boards today. People aren't thrilled with Charlie Baker's website.
People are very angry about what's going on. I mean, and I can't say as I blame them. Charlie Parker has been taking these victory laps for his abysmal performance handling the panic, and this vaccine rollout is the worst yet. He doesn't have enough vaccines to go around, so he decides to double the amount of people who are eligible to get the vaccine, and he sets up a totally inadequate website, and it crashed in about a minute. And the thing is, he's been scaring people, telling them they're going to die if they don't get the vaccine for a year. And then when they can't get the vaccine, they get very frightened. And he's saying, calm down, calm down. No, you calm down. You've been stoking panic and fear and hysteria for a year, and now you have to pay the price. How would you like, Grace, if you thought you were going to die if you didn't get the vaccine, and you go on it, and all you see on the website is an octopus and a question mark?
Oh, was that the screensaver?
You haven't seen that? Yes. That's what you get on
like an X or something. Or
that's what you get on the website: an octopus and a question mark. It's like an insult.
Yeah, that is bad. But look, what do people expect? I mean, this has been dysfunction since day one.
This is the hackorama. I mean, Holly Robichaud has got a column. It'll be on the website very shortly if it's not up there already. I think I'll have her on the show tonight with me. Her parents are trying to get the shots down on Cape Cod. There's no place to get a vaccination. They got 55,000 elderly in Barnstable County, and they got no place to go. What are they supposed to do? Go up to Fenway Park in the middle of winter? What are you going to drop them off and let them in their wheelchairs or their walkers and go into Fenway Park?
Well, it's amazing because there's been so many hiccups, to put it lightly. First, he said, if you have someone who's over the age of 75, you can get the vaccine. So then people started, trying to hook up with Granny on the side of the street so they could go in and get a vaccine. And then he almost immediately said, forget it. So there doesn't seem to be. And Howie, the part that kind of baffles me is they had a long, long time to figure this out. They weren't really working on reopening the businesses or reopening schools. They had a long time to figure out.
Listen, Grace, they were too busy setting up snitch lines. That's true. The hacks were too busy going into the supermarkets at Thanksgiving to make sure no one was buying a big butterball or oven stuffer. They had really they were too busy trying to warn people not to have anybody over for Thanksgiving dinner or for Christmas dinner. To tell Grandma that she can't come over the river and through the woods to visit her grandkids. That's what they were doing. They were lecturing everybody. What?
No Super Bowl parties, no Patriots parties.
Right, I forgot that. Yeah, no Super Bowl parties, nothing. And make sure and put up those plexiglass between the bartender and the patron at the bar. And you can't. It's got to be like 10 inches or 8 inches high, so you can push a cocktail glass or a rocks glass through the plexiglass to the patron. But otherwise, you have to bring the glass of wine or the mug of beer around the bar. It was insanity. They were too busy doing this stupid crap to actually set up a system that was going to work when the vaccine arrived.
Howie, they were too busy worrying about the parents who were socializing at their kids' hockey games.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They were the number one.
You know what?
People.
Sometimes they play 2 games or 3 games even on a Saturday, and you know what, Grace? Between the games, they go out and get something to eat. We're going to put an end to that, damn it.
It's not.
That's not going to happen here in the
acceptable.
Fourth Reich of Massachusetts.
Howie, can I switch gears here for a sec? Because I didn't get your take on this yet today. Ted Cruz, I'm watching video now of him on Fox. He's returning from Cancun during the Texas power crisis. What do you think of this? Am I wrong to just be like, in what world does that even enter your mind as something to do?
I don't think this would ever happen to somebody from a politician from Boston or Chicago. Because remember, Jane Byrne got caught, I think, in Florida. She was the mayor, first female mayor of Chicago, and she lost the election because she was out of town. I think Kevin White got caught in a blizzard once in Florida and was stuck, for days. And it really leads to bad feelings. But you got to give Ted a bit of a break. I mean, this has never happened before in Texas. There was no playbook for this in Texas, right?
Yeah, but he was here when it happened, and then he left. It wasn't like he was in Mexico when it happened.
Yeah, that's true. He shouldn't have gone. I mean, it's really bad. I mean, my daughter Charlotte is still stuck in D.C. And her boss
Charlotte was the first person I texted this morning. I said, Charlotte, is this true? Am I getting fake news? Because for a long time, people weren't sure. And Charlotte texted me back and she said, yes, and it's bad. And yeah. I have to agree. Howie, I do want to ask you another thing here. I said earlier in the show, I said there's pros and cons to being before Howie. Sometimes I get stories first, and then sometimes I don't get to them to the next day. This Ron Kim story is really amazing, and I feel as though we're finally seeing the unraveling of Andrew Cuomo. And I was part of the group that did not think much would happen to him, but now it's starting to seem like this is really picking up steam.
I was just telling Sebastian Gorka, though, I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that someone even further to the left wants to run against him, Letitia James, the Attorney General.
Yeah, but
right?
Howie, I feel the same way as I do when someone further from the left goes up against a Democrat, like just hack who's always been obnoxious. I don't mind it. Like if AOC took Chuck Schumer's spot, as much as I wouldn't want AOC in that position, it would make me happy to see Chuck Schumer lose. Because he's been so part of this like cancel culture and, he's been feeding or what do you say, Howie, riding the tiger for so long.
Democrat crime is fun, is it not? It's like I always say, it's like the Iran-Iraq war. Isn't there some way they can both lose?
Well, when Bill de Blasio's hopping on the train to insult you, did you hear this cut, Howie, from Bill?
No.
Let's play this for Howie. It's amazing how quickly he turns on Cuomo, and now he's really brave, and he's not and before we played Howie, I gotta say, it drives me kind of crazy because Ron Kim actually has some guts. Bill de Blasio does not. So now Bill de Blasio is pretending like, oh yeah, I'm right on board with Ron Kim.
Well, de Blasio is like the guy, who's been bullied in the schoolyard, and then the bully finally gets knocked down and he's bleeding and he's on his back, and de Blasio comes up and kicks him.
Exactly. Okay, listen to this, Howie. That's exactly right. Cut 16.
Yeah, it's a sad thing to say, Mika, but that's classic Andrew Cuomo. A lot of people in New York State have received those phone calls. The bullying is nothing new. I believe Ron Kim, and it's very, very sad. No public servant, no person who's telling the truth should be treated that way. But yeah, the threats, the belittling, the demand that someone change their statement right that moment, many, many times I've heard that, and I know a lot of other people in this state have heard that.
So you believe Assemblyman Kim that he was threatened?
100%.
What I want to know is, he denies that, but, it seems like you could just look at Kim's phone and see if he really got called 4 or 5 times on Saturday. I mean, that's classic stalking behavior, isn't it?
Yeah.
Someone doesn't want to talk to you and you just keep calling them on the phone. I mean, that's what I was doing to the Undersecretary of Climate Change last week in Massachusetts.
Yeah, but you do it with such joy, When Howie calls you, if he has a bad story to write about you, I think it kind of makes it worse for people because Howie calls you and he's got like this giggle in his voice. Hi, it's Howie Carr calling. Can you call me back?
I wanted to ask you about that private pilot's license.
Hey, Howie, really quick. I know that you are a good Catholic and you are probably giving something up for Lent. What are you giving up?
I am giving up masks.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, that makes sense because you're vaccinated. Howie, could you also just tell people, just for me, because this is one of my favorite stories, what you used to say to the kid that you went to school with who would eat meat on Fridays?
He was a Catholic, and I would just wait. He would always get a sandwich at the local deli. He ate better than the rest of us did. And so we'd always get this meal, and I'd watch him at lunch, and he would bite into his ham sandwich or something. He's just chomping down, and he swallows some of it. I say, his name was PJ. PJ, it's Friday. You're going straight to hell for eating that sandwich.
There's no story that I can picture more than Howie as a young kid waiting to tell his fellow classmates.
And then he would put it down. He would put it down, Grace, and young Howard would have a delicious ham sandwich.
You'd wait for him to leave it alone. Wow.
That's because my father always used to say, why aren't you going to Mass with the rest of us? He'd say, I have a special dispensation from the Pope. So, if someone said, why am I eating a ham sandwich on Friday? That's what I would like father, like son. I have a special dispensation from the Pope.
Howie Carr. I love that story. I just think it's quintessential Howie Carr. Guys, do not go anywhere. Howie will be back with more Governor Baker drama and more sound. I'll be back tomorrow. This is The Grace Curley Show.
Between the news, appointment TV, and endless scrolling on our phones, we're looking at screens more than ever. But how do you rest your eyes without feeling totally unplugged? By putting in a pair of Raycon wireless earbuds and listening to something great. Whether you're listening to your favorite podcast, binging an audiobook, or working out to a pumped-up playlist, Raycons are built to perform anywhere and anytime with water and sweat-resistant construction and seamless Bluetooth pairing. There are no dangling wires or white stems to worry about. Raycons offer a comfortable in-ear fit for a more discreet look in a variety of colorways for maximum style. And with 6 hours of playtime, you can unplug for a while. The best part? Raycon wireless earbuds start at half the price of the other premium audio brands, so you can pick up a pair and a spare. Right now, get 15% off Raycons at buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buy, B-U-Y, Raycon.com/Howie for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buy